Hi, I'm Debbie and welcome to Book and Bujo, where I talk about all things books, bullet journals, and stationery. Thank you for joining me today as I update my year-long readathons. Am I gonna make it? I have 5 year-long readathons that I participate in 2024. The first one is Buzzwordathon, and for that one I do the A to Z challenge as well. So A to Z challenge, I have done everything but the X, and that one I will be doing in December, which is Accidental Ashes, the second book in the Zoe Myers series by Sarah C. Rivel. And for Buzzwordathon with Kayla from Books and Lala, and I have done all of the books except for December, which is holiday words, and I have completed all the rest of the months, and I'll be reading The Christmas Wish for that one in December, and that's by Lindsay Kelk. And then I also have been doing the Adventures in Aeldia 2024. I participated in 2023 as well. It was so much fun. I loved it. And I have been doing really well. I've been keeping up with everything. So the last one is still December, where I have to read a book with romance, which is going to be The Christmas Wish by Lindsay Kelk, and a heist story, which I'm still trying to decide which way I want to go, whether I want to read Red Seas Under Red Skies, which is the second book in the Gentleman Bastard series by Scott Lynch, or am I going to read Crooked Kingdom, which is the second book in the Six Crows series by Leigh Bardugo. I read the first book in both of these series in October and November, right in there. So yeah. If you have any thoughts, let me know. Which one of these should I read in December for Year in Aeldia, for a heist story? Which one works better? And now for the really long ones. So we have the 52 Book Club Challenge, and I will leave all of these readathons linked down below for you if you want to participate next year in them, because I'm pretty sure they're all carrying over for another year. I've seen the announcement video for this one come up already, but I haven't for the other two. They will probably come out in December sometime. So we have, the 52 Book Club, Locked Room Mystery. I read Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone by Benjamin Stevenson. I'm just going to rapid fire all of these for you. For Bibliosmia, a smelly book, I read Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. More Than 40 Chapters, The Path of Daggers by Robert Jordan. For Lowercase Letters on the Spine, and that one is Mother of Learning by Damagaj Kermiak. And this one is, we have the lowercase e and a, and then uppercase r and n, and lowercase I. Yeah, that one counted. And I can't wait to get to the rest of that series either. It was really good. I had a lot of fun with that one. Let's see, then we had Magical Realism, Every Heart a Doorway by Shauna McGuire. Women in STEM, Daughter of the Deep by Rick Riordan. At Least 4 Different POVs, Winter's Heart by Robert Jordan. Features The Ocean, A Wizard of Earthsea by Ursula K. Le Guin. A character-driven novel, The Rachel Incident by Carolyn O'Donoghue. Told in non-chronological order, The Aeneid by Virgil. Title starting with a K, Kingfall by David Estes. Title starting with an L, Last Call by John Robinson. An academic thriller, Butcher and Blackbird by Bryn Weaver. A Grieving Character, 1984 by George Orwell. Part of a duology, The Iliad by Homer. The other half of that is The Odyssey. An Omniscient Narrator, The Name of All Things by Jen Lyons. Nominated for the Booker Prize, Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clark. An apostrophe in the title, Shade's First Rule by AFK, and that was another super fun one. A buddy read, Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kagawa. A revenge story, The Princess Bride by William Goldman. Written by a ghostwriter. That one I have not done yet, but I will be reading The Gathering Storm by Robert Jordan and Brandon Sanderson. And that's the 12th book in the Wheel of Time series. A plot similar to another book, What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. The other book with a similar plot, and that's The Fall of the House of Usher by Edgar Allan Poe. A cover without people on it, I read In a Book Club Far Away by Tiff Marcella. An author everyone has read except you, Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. Hybrid genre, The Girl in the Tower by Catherine Arden, and that one is fantasy and historical. By a neurodivergent author, An Unkindness of Ghosts by Rivers Solomon, also a very good book. A Yellow Spine, Yellow Face by R.F. Kuang. I'm actually surprised at how many yellow books there are out there. There's a lot. Published in the Year of the Dragon, The Truth by Terry Pratchett. Picked Without Reading the Blurb, Shiftless by Amy Easterling. Includes a Personal Phobia, Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. Time frame spans a week or less, and for this one I could choose Rear Window, because Rear Window also 3 o'clock and whatever the last one was. Postmortem and 3 o'clock, the other 2 short stories that are in here, they all of the short stories take place in less than a week. So I could do that one, but I'm probably going to do The Christmas Wish by Lindsay Kelk. Then we have An Abrupt Ending, The Lost World by Michael Crichton. I felt like that just ended. And then I was like, oh, okay, we're done. I felt like there should have been a little bit more, but it just kind of ended. So, yeah, I don't know if everyone felt that way, but that's how I felt. Set in a landlocked country, and for this one I'm planning on reading The Historian by Elizabeth Kostovo. And so I have not read this yet, but it's on my December TBR. And I did forget to say the 52 book club runs from January to December each year. So December is the last chance you get to get all these done. All right, prompt number 35. Title matches lyrics from a song, Dare to Believe by Becky Dvorak. Has futuristic technology, Artemis Fowl by Ian Colfer. Palindrome on the cover. And this is another one that I'm reading in December, I have not read yet, and that is Assistant to the Villains by Hannah Nicole Maher, and Hannah's name is a palindrome. Same front and back. I kept trying to find books that talked about Bob and Wow and Mom, but I've either read them or, yeah, don't have any, so. And I'm amazed at all of the books. I've read over 200 books this year, not one of them. The author name, title, series name, none of them had a palindrome. It's crazy. No Anne, like Anna, A-N-N-A, you know, none of that. I didn't even have Bob for an author. It's crazy. Yeah. We have Robert Jordan, but he's not Bob, he's Robert, so yeah. All right, prompt 38. Published by Hachette, The Bone Shard War by Andrea Stewart. Great series. Nonfiction recommended by a friend, Say Goodbye to Illness by Devi Namboodrapad. That was also really good. Set during a holiday you don't celebrate, the remaking of Corbin Whale by Roan Parrish. They did talk about Hanukkah in there. A Sticker on the Cover, Wuthering Heights, the graphic novel by Emily Bronte. Here we go, and there's the sticker, because this was from a library that closed, and so they had the little library stickers on them. There's another one down there. Prompt 42. Author debut in second half of 2024. There's actually a few that I'm interested in reading for this one. Daughter of Smoke, I think is one of them. Daughter of Fire by Sophia something. That one looked really interesting. We also had Night Owl Momentum Mori, but I have The Spell Shot by Sarah Beth Durst, which I was supposed to read in November, but I still have not been able to get my hands on a copy. So that will move to December as well. That makes 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5 books that I need to read in December to complete this challenge. Wish me luck. Prompt number 43. About Finding Identity, 1Q84 by Haruki Murakami. Includes a wedding, The Trouble with Peace by Joe Abercrombie. Chapter headings have dates, Imperfect Magic by C.N. Rowan. Featuring Indigenous Culture, Talks Like Thunder by Randall Nurhouse. Self-insert by an author, Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. The word secret in the title, The Very Secret Society of Regular Witches by Sanji Mandana. Set in a city starting with the letter M, Vicious by V.E. Schwab. A musical instrument on the cover, A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross. Related to the word wild, The Fangs of War, and it could have wild places or characters that are wild in the book, and this one is by E.J. Doble, and yes, it definitely does have some wild characters and some wild places in it. Let's go ahead and pull that out for you. The Fangs of War by E.J. Doble, and again, beautiful sword on the spine there. And then that leaves us with Prompt number 52, published in 2024, Heart of a Valkyrie by Melanie Karsak, which I loved. Love Melanie Karsak. She has such great books, and she does a lot through the Viking times and a lot of wild times. So that one actually would work for the wild prompt as well. But so I still have 5 prompts left to complete before the end of December. And I do have them all on my December TBR, so hopefully I will be able to get to all of them. The next one runs from April to April, and that is the Our Fantasy Bingo. And this one, you have regular mode, hard mode, and hero mode. Regular mode, you just read a book that fits the prompt. Hard mode, you have an extra prompt that you have to tack onto that one. And then for hero mode, you then need to leave a review of all of the books that you read. So I'm doing fairly well in this one, but I do still have till April to finish it. Again, let's go rapid fire. Prompt number 1, a first in the series, and hard mode is the series is more than 3 books long, and this one I started Spellslinger by Sebastian de Castell, the first book in the series. There's a ton. I could put Malice on here. There's so many books I could put on here, but I went with Spellslinger. Prompt number 2, alliterative title. In hard mode, the title has 3 words or more that start with the same letter. And for that one, I chose The Lies of Loch Lamora. So we got 3 L's by Scott Lynch for that one. Prompt number 3, this one I still need to do. And that's Under the Surface. At least half the book takes place underground or underwater. I have heard that the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin works for this one, but I guess I didn't pick up on all of the underworld part in it. So I have read that one, which I could use for this prompt because other people says it works. But I'm also looking at Wool or maybe The Starless Sea, Neverwhere. I think one of those would work as well, From Below. So we'll see. If I get to one of those, I'll use that. If not, I will use the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin. Prompt number 4, Criminals. Hard mode features a heist, and that one I did just reread. Let's see if I can find it up here, right here. 6 of Crows by Leigh Bardugo, the first book in the series. That one definitely works. And you can, for Our Fantasy Bingo, you can have 1 reread, and you cannot use the same author twice. You can't use the same book twice, no doubling up, but you also can only use the same author once. So you can't double up on authors either. Prompt number 5, Dreams. Hard mode, not mystical or unusual, just a normal dream or nightmare. And for this one, I read The Dream Thieves, the second book in the Raven Cycle by Maggie Stiefvater. Prompt number 6, entitled Animals. Hard mode, animal in title is a fantasy or a sci-fi creature. And for this one, I read A Natural History of Dragons by Marie Brennan, the first book in the Memoirs of Lady Trent series. Prompt number 7, Bards. Character is explicitly called a bard for the hard mode. And for this one, I read A River Enchanted, Elements of Cadence Book 1 by Rebecca Ross. Prompt number 8, Prologues and Epilogues. And the hard mode, it has both a prologue and an epilogue. And for this one, I read Peace and Turmoil, the first book in the Dark Shores series by Elliot Brooks. Prompt number 9, self-published or indie published. Hard mode has fewer than 100 ratings on Goodreads, or indie has done an AMA. So for this one, I read Fairy Godmothers and Other Tales by Mrs. Alfred Gaddy. There's actually quite a few I've read since then that also would work. So Only the Worthy, Shadow Knights, either of those would work as well. Prompt number 10, a romantasy. And hard mode is the main character is LGBTQIA+. And for that, I read Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. Prompt number 11, we have a Dark Academia. The school itself is entirely mundane. So this one I have not read something for yet. But I think The Historian by Elizabeth Kostova would work for this one. If you know for sure, let me know down in the comments. But I have also heard that The Magicians could work, Summer Sons, and Education and Malice, or even Plain Bad Heroines could work. So I may read one of those, but I'm going to start with The Historian since I'm reading that in December anyway, and see what happens. Prompt number 12, multi-POV. And the hard mode is it has to have at least 5 or more POVs. And for that one, I read Magefall, the third book in the Kingfall History series by David Estes, and he usually has a minimum of 6 POVs in his stories, and sometimes more. But for some reason, they are so easy to follow. You know exactly whose perspective you're in once you get to them, and it's done so well. Yeah, he does such a great job juggling multiple point of views. Prompt number 13, published in 2024, Hard Mode, also a debut. So again, I could use the spell shop for this one. But we also have the Memento Mori by Eunice Hong could work, The Lamplighter, Strange Beasts, Lady of Steel and Straw. I think all of those would work as well. So Fathom Folk. So we'll see what happens when I get to that one. So hopefully I can get the spell shop in here. 14, character with a disability. And Hard Mode, the main character has a physical or mental disability. And for this one, I read Fourth Wing, the first book in the Imperium series by Rebecca Yarros. 15, published in the 90s. And Hard Mode, author has also published something in the last 5 years. So I think Tad Williams could work. So one of these books here. I have not read one for this one yet, but I could also do Sandman, Daughter of the Forest, Tagana, anything by Guy Gavriel Kay, Sabriel, Jenny Wirtz. I just haven't gotten to any of those yet. Hopefully in January, February, I will be able to read one of these ones by Tad Williams. 16, Trolls and Goblins. Oh my! And the hard mode is Orc, Troll, or Goblin must be a main character. And for this one, I read The Thousand Eyes, which is the second book in the Serpent Gate series by A.K. Larkwood. Prompt 17, a space opera. Hard mode is written by an author of marginalized gender identity. And for that one, I read A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, the first book in the Wayfarer series by Becky Chambers. Prompt 18, author of color. And the hard mode must be a debut in the last 5 years. And for this, I read The Canopy Keepers, which is the first book in the Scorched Earth series by Veronica Henry. And that one was really good. I enjoyed that one a lot. Prompt number 19, survival. Hard mode, no superviruses or pandemics. And for this one, I read The Serpent and the Wings of Night, which is the first book in the Crowns of Nyaxia by Carissa Broadbent. 20, judge a book by its cover, and the hard mode is picked based on the info on the cover, no blurbs. And for that, it was The Fangs of War by E.J. Doble. That cover is stunning, and actually the original cover is also stunning. But I knew nothing about that one. Just the cover. So nice. Prompt 21, set in a small town. Hard mode. Small town can be real or fictional, but broader setting must be our real world. And for this one, I read The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. Prompt 22, 5 short stories. Read an entire speculative anthology or collection. And for this, I read Hex Life, Wicked New Tales of Witchery by a variety of authors. And this one had over 20 stories in it, I believe. Prompt 23, Eldritch Creatures. Hard mode, not related to the Cthulhu mythos. Monsters Born and Made by Tanvi Burwa. Prompt 24, reference materials. Hard mode, contains at least 2 types of additional materials. Now, when you're reading fantasy, you usually have a whole lot of that. There's usually a glossary of characters, a pronunciation guide, and a whole bunch of other stuff that goes in there. Sometimes you'll get interludes and things like that that tell you some other information about characters or the history of the world. But for this one, I read The Return of the Knights by Gregory Contexus. This had maps, it had a glossary, and like a little of terms as well as character names. And then 25, book club or a read-along book. And for this one, the hard mode is must read a current selection and participate in discussion of one of the Our Fantasy Bingo book clubs. And this one we read Imperfect Magic, the first book in the series by C.N. Rowan. And so I am super close. I have 2, 3, 4, 5. I also have 5 books to finish for this one, but I have until April for that. And a lot of the books I'm finishing for the 52 book club will also work for this one. And then lastly, we have the Horror Bingo Readathon, which is based on the Our Fantasy Bingo Readathon. And this one is by Wicked Reading. and I'm doing okay so far. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8 that I've read so far, which is pretty good. Again, we have regular mode and hard mode, the same as our fantasy bingo. And for regular mode, it's published in 2024. And for the hard mode, you have to read it before the end of 2024. And for this one, I read Evocation by S.T. Gibson. Down here on this row, I've already finished 3 of them. So we have cover pick, and the hard mode is Don't Know the Synopsis. And for that, I read Hunted by Charles Welsh, and that one was really good. I enjoyed that one. And then we have a Reaper read, hard mode, Death Itself is Predominant. And for that, I read the Death series, so the first book in the series, which is Death Whispers by Tamara Rose Blodgett. And then for title has a spooky word, and the hard mode must have 2 or more spooky words, and for that I chose the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. So there's 2 words, and that's by Grady Hendrix. And then we're down to the 3rd row, and I've got 2 of them done here. So we have a 5-star read, and the hard mode is it's a prediction. And for that one, I predicted that I would give Gunmetal Gods by Ismail Akhtar, the first book in the series, a 5-star. And then for a cryptid hard mode, don't know about the creature or the lore around it before you read it. And for that one, I read Cthulhu's Children by J.E. Murphy. And I had heard Cthulhu before, but I didn't know what any of that was. I've never actually read any of the Cthulhu stories or what the actual creature is behind it. So when I found that one, I thought, hey, I'll give this one a try. And it's more of a middle grade YA. It's more of a YA horror book, and it was okay. But it was interesting, but not amazing. And then we have, I don't have anything for this bottom row yet. Oh, I do. That's right. So book club pick, and it needs to, these books need to be horror, where our fantasy bingo is kind of sci-fi, fantasy, and horror all together. And this one, the book club pick, and the hard mode is there is none because it's hard enough to get to your book club books. And for this one, I did just finish The Book of Azrael by Amber V. Nicole, and I did enjoy that one. That's one of the ones, it took me a little while to really get into it, but once I did, I thoroughly enjoyed it the rest of the book. And now I have one last one that I have finished so far, and that one is a TBR Vet. On TBR for at least 2+ years, and for that one I did finally read Empire of the Vampire by J. Kristoff, and I absolutely loved that book. That one was definitely a 5-star book. So good. So I have finished 7 so far, but this just started in October, so I've had October, November, and then December for this year, and then we'll have all the way through September 30th in 2025 to finish this board. So got some time left. And some of the ones, there are a few that I could read in here. So like Blood on the Cover. Actually, Blood on the Cover, Blood Ever After by Sean O'Connor will work for that one. Not that I want to keep using that because that book was awful. But anyway. So there are a few more I could probably put in here. But for now, that's where I am. So stay tuned to see how I do with this one in the coming months. And that's all I got for my year-long Readathons update. What year-long Readathons are you taking part in? How are you doing on the A to Z challenge and the Buzzwordathon? Because I know everybody loves those ones. And have you started the horror book Readathon and by Wicked Reading? Because that one is great. There's some really good prompts on that one. And it's not too late to start our fantasy bingo because you can go back through what you've already read and try and fit those into the prompts from April 1st to March 30th next year. And then we still have another 4 months before this one's over. And then for 52 Book Club, she did put out the 2025 prompts, and that one starts in January. So it'd be good to start planning now, and I will have my TBR for that coming out soon. If you made it this far in the video, leave a big book stack emoji in the comments to let me know that you are here. And until next time, keep reading. Bye!